Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Waffles RC and Happy New Year. Once again, filming this the weekend before, so, timing's off a little bit for me, but Happy New Year nonetheless. We are getting back on the rotator, as you saw by the thumbnail that you just clicked on. So we had parts come in finally. Actually, not finally, they've been here for a while, but now I can actually get started on this thing that you can't see because it's out of the camera. So we'll go over it just real quick. So these are the actuators that I normally use, which is used in that Zack lift, which, yeah, you can partially see it. It's down there. So these ones, you mount this part solid, and as this rotates with that servo, that's what makes it actuate. But you have this big old servo, and you need a winch controller to make it work. But now the ones that I got from GoBilda, that's right, they look much neater. I can't unscrew it, so I can't show you until I actually wire it up. And 3 wires, which means I shouldn't need a winch controller for this. And of course, me being me, this one is capable of 22 kilograms, which I'll put right here, what that is in pounds. That's just this one. So of course I got 2. And that's just for the boom lift. That's going to be a lot of fun. Now I will need a splitter, obviously, to go to one channel to control both of these at once. But not an issue. Another cool thing that they come with is hardware. And not just hardware, mounting brackets, which, as you can see by the holes there, perfectly line up with the holes that are in this plate. So that whole big plate that I made is unnecessary now. I do still need to make a mount for the boom itself, but these line up perfectly with that. Wham bam, there you go. Quite excited about that. So that's what we're going to focus on with this video, is trying to get the boom to work. If we can get to the outriggers, we will, but trying to be a little less ambitious here and just try to get the boom to go up and down and rotate. Now, if that goes fast, then we'll work on the outriggers. So before we get started, 2 things of note. One of you did mention in the comments that the truck seems like it's running out of channels to run something with this much stuff going on. And you are correct. The truck is completely out of channels. There's no more left on the truck. But we're building this one exactly like I built that one. This will have its own battery source and its own receiver and its own BEC. This will be a completely separate entity upon itself. Now with the old Zack lift, I used a really cheap controller because all that one has to do is lift the boom up and down and fold the wheel lift out. This is going to have a few more things going on with it, like up and down, rotating left and right, then outriggers, then a wheel lift, which you are correct. I am going to put a wheel lift on this thing because it still needs to be a tow truck, which is why I have another actuator further down the road. Calm down, okay? You guys just need to calm down a little bit. We're nowhere near that. One piece at a time. So to make this work with all the options that I plan on having with it, we have, of course, its own BEC. It's going to need that to control voltage. Then as for a controller, I need a lot of channels because of so many things going on. So once again, went a little crazy. This one is going to have a radio link, AT102. Yep, AT102 12 channel. It's a big one, which is fine. Now, for those of you who have been around the channel a long time, you know that from that truck, I had a Fly Sky. I had nothing but issues with it. I couldn't program it correctly because I didn't read the instructions, and they were very complicated. Now, the radio links, I've had great luck with once you figure out how to program them. So I decided, go with a radio link. Keep it all within the family. Radiolink, if you're watching, would like a sponsorship. This stuff ain't cheap. Now, for a controller like this, it's surprisingly affordable if you're trying to go for something like this. I'm not going to say that it was cheap, but it was cheaper than other alternatives. So let's go with that. We'll get to that in a little bit, plus that in a little bit. We will need it once we get this situation figured out. So let's just start from the beginning, get the actuators mounted up on the rotator base, and then start working on a boom. So here is our pivot part for the boom itself. Ground that down to make it a little bit smoother. Already had a hole in that, so we're good there. And I got the rams, or actuators, whatever you want to call them, mounted on the plate. Sorry for the appearance, but it's California cold, so it's cold to me. Now, for those of you everywhere else in the United States or around the world where cold actually means cold, it's quite lovely out. But for me, it's cold. So one thing to take note of if you do use these actuators with this plate. So the bolts that mount these plates right here have to go through the gear. Well, you have to make sure that it clears everything. So I couldn't use a lock nut on it, so final assembly, I will have to put Loctite on there. It's just a short bolt with a nut on there. Put some Loctite, should be good. But something to take note of if you are doing a similar build using these parts from GoBilda or Servo City or whichever one of the sites you pick. But these seem really nice so far, and a good amount of hardware. So while this is cooling down, I believe I skipped over the second part of the 2 things of note. If anybody out there has a Tamiya, Grand Hauler, any of the 14 scale semis without any electronics, don't need any electronics in it, don't need a motor, servo, nothing. Just basically cab, chassis, wheels, tires, blah, blah, blah. I am willing to buy it off of you. Please. Because I have a 3D printer now. And along with this whole complex build that I'm doing, I want to make a gift for Zaclift. But to do that, I need a 14 scale semi because I want to make all their different products that they can display at any of the shows that they go to. Now a 50-pound, well, probably going to be more with this actually, but a 50-pound semi that runs and drives, they don't need something like that. They just need something that's more of a display, maybe some lights. So if any of you have one that's just sitting around, doesn't work, whatever, isn't even assembled, please email me right here, wafflesrc2023@gmail.com. Let me know what you have, maybe send a picture, and let me know what your price is, and I will figure out how to pay you, pay for shipping, all that stuff. So please let me know. It would be greatly appreciated. It's not going to me specifically. I want to make a gift for Zaclift for their stuff. So if anybody has one, please let me know. Be greatly appreciated. I'm going to let this cool down just a little bit more, then drill some holes and mount it in there. All right, and there you have it. We have our base on and we have our boom on. So now the next steps that we have to take is, obviously, this is a bit long of a boom. We don't really need it to go up that high. As funny as it would be. What I need to do now is figure out where do I want to cut it, which is totally a guessing game, to be 100% honest. Once I figure out where I want to cut it, then I need to make mounts for these on the boom. That is another challenge within itself, but we will figure it out and make it work. All right, had to open the door for this one, but I have gone on a guesstimation, an approximation of a guesstimation of that's how long I want it. No tape measure. I just looked at it, drew a line, hope for the best. And engage. that was almost a straight cut. I did draw 2 lines to try and get it straight, but measurements are just a suggestion in my opinion. It's more cut with what feels right. Let's see what it looks like. Yep. That is a boom. Now, will this work? Or will it just... I don't know. I think we're gonna have to go up kind of high on it. Yeah. So that's my next guessing point, is I can't have them perfectly parallel because they need the the actuators can't be perfectly parallel because they'll just try and push the thing out rather than pushing it up. So I need to have them at a bit of an angle to then get it to lift. So there's going to be quite a bit of guesstimations in this as well. I'm going to figure this out. We'll make it work. Got that all done. Nothing super crazy. It's held mostly level, as you saw by my shimming. I do plan on adding some supports under here and cleaning it up, making it look better, but once again, we're just making sure stuff works. So let's turn the truck on. Got them wired up 2 into 1. Hopefully they're wired up correctly, and hopefully the truck won't drive away. Normally I do not test on camera, but what's it really gonna hurt, right? Except that. Okay, let's see. Nope. Nope. See, this is why I don't like to test. Yeah, it's on switch C. Maybe these are backwards. Let's see. Okay, something's off here. Okay, I don't know what I've done wrong here. See, this is why we test things. Let me figure this out. Okay, some time has passed. I have figured nothing out. Tried it with this controller from the truck, couldn't figure it out. I hooked up this controller, couldn't figure it out. So the issue that I'm having is that these RAMs will only either all the way out or all the way in. There's no stopping them in between. So that's the issue that I'm having. And of course it's the holidays, so they're not answering their phone either. I don't blame them. It's the holidays. But one good thing did come out of this. Don't you do it. So you can check out my super BEC and receiver setup is, you know, very custom. But if we turn this on, one thing that does work perfectly fine is our rotator. Now I do know that I could go in this gigantic thing and I can slow that down, or I can just go really slow, but I think I'm just going to come in here and slow it down. But the whole goal was this stick will be for the rotator and the boom part. This stick would then be for the wheel lift. I also did try with these rams using a winch controller. To say the least, I don't know how well you can see that, but it burned up the winch controller. So a winch controller doesn't work. Now the winch controller does work with this whole system with the old rams, but I don't want to use the old rams. I was able to get these to work perfectly, exactly how I wanted them to, using this. Not a single issue in the world. But I don't want to use these. I want to use these. I don't know what to do, and I'm out of time because it's the holidays. So I think we may have to end the video there. There's a lot more work that needs to happen, trust me, I know. And it's not a very great video considering I made a boom. Is there anything else I can do in the short amount of time? What, I got 40 minutes that I can actually do something? Now these, the outriggers, I know I can make work also because I tested this and it does work. I just have to hook it up, tune it all correctly, and wire it all, and there's a lot of work for that too. This thing is turning out to be quite complicated, but I am determined to make it work. I just need to get a hold of the guys at GoBilda to figure out why these rams can't be used the way that I'm trying to use them. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be a little upset if I spent all that money on rams that I can't use. Now, if they have some type of tuner thing that goes in between that allows me to do what I'm trying to get it to do, I'll buy it. Their tuner stuff, they're not very expensive, and shipping's actually pretty quick, so I'm not that concerned about it. I like the setup that I have right now. Everything is working exactly how it should, other than the actuators, or rams as I will continue to call them. I don't know. So hopefully one of you guys can help me out. That would be greatly appreciated. If anybody knows, or if anybody from GoBilda is watching this, maybe you can tell me, because it's the holidays and I don't expect you to answer the phone. So let me know. If you guys would like to buy some merch, I'm not wearing any, well, sort of wearing some. You can go right here. Link will be down in the description below as well. It'd be greatly appreciated. Helps fund these builds, especially since I am spending a lot more on this thing than I thought that I would. But I wanted to make it cool for you guys, and we're going to. It's just going to take some time. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for subscribing. I do have the 10,000 subscriber build car body coming, and I'm working on another one with my own 3D printer. And that's right. Hopefully we'll get this figured out, and I will see you all next week. Now a little extra for the people who stay around to the very end of these videos. Here is my 3D printer. It is a Bamboo Labs A1. I know nothing about this thing. It's not welding, and it's not metal. Well, parts of it are metal, but you know what I mean. It's different for me. So you may be asking yourself, well, why did I get one then? Allow me to show you. It is so I can make my own bodies finally. And as you see by this one right here, we are making our own body. So that right there is why we have a 3D printer. Trying to save money. Now all I have to do is figure out how to use it. Huh. Can you show me how to use it? Do you think he can show you how to use it? This will now be my 3D printer manager. As you can see, he's keeping a meticulous eye on it. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week. Hopefully this will be done. Hi. Okay, yeah, you're done.